Okay, I guess we're live. It says live. And I have my glass of wine and I have a lot of awesome people waiting backstage. So welcome everybody. Happy 9 p.m. or in COVID speak, whatever time you want it to be. I'm Lisa Rubin, the Artistic and Executive Director of the Segal Centre, and this is my Nightcap. But if you're watching this, let's face it, you already know who I am. You're probably even related to me, or work with me, or maybe you're just a mega fan of one of our upcoming guests. You could also be a fan of the Segal Centre, and for that, I truly say thank you. We need you around. And look, I know I can't compete with the original cast of Hamilton singing for a 9-year-old and everyone else who wished they were 9 when that came out yesterday. But what I can tell you is at the Segal Centre, we get to work with some pretty incredible people and we get to make some really good theater. Hold on. We're kind of special at the Segal because we have shows on Monday night because we're dark on Friday night. I know, we're good Jews. So for the next few Mondays or for however long we are stuck at home together, I will introduce you to some awesome people who are in one way or another left us with some really great memories and also made a profound connection with our audience. And so here we are, 3 weeks into the quarantine, live from my basement, and 2 days away from the Jewish holiday of Passover. And I can't think of a better way to kick this off than to go back to the good old days with a show that was my directorial debut, a show that was so popular, we brought it back a second season later, and then we even took it to Toronto. And that show is Bad Jews by Joshua Harmon. Before I bring up the cast, I do realize that many may need a recap, like those who decided to skip the first 2 seasons of Ozark and go right to the third. So if you don't remember, here is the rundown on Bad Jews. The night after their grandfather's funeral, 3 cousins engage in a verbal and sometimes physical battle. In one corner, we have Daphne Feigenbaum, the real Jew, sometimes volatile, self-assured and unbending, and in the other, her equally stubborn cousin Liam, a secular and entitled young man who has his non-Jewish girlfriend Melody in tow. Stuck in the middle is Liam's brother, Jonah, who tries to stay out of the fray, and when Liam stakes claim to their grandfather's Chai necklace, a vicious and hilarious brawl over the family and faith and legacy ensues. So we have a trailer. Let's try and see if we can throw to that trailer, Mel, and see if it can work and take a trip down memory lane. Oh my God. Okay, new official best thing about quarantine is going back and revisiting shows like this one. And now finally, I just want to say I've not spoken to any of the actors. So I have no idea. They have no idea what I'm going to talk about. I have no idea if they secretly got together behind the scenes and planned something which I wouldn't put past them. So we are truly doing this live. I've only been in contact with them over email. So I'm so excited. I haven't seen her in a long time. The diva herself, Sarah Segal-Lazar, playing Daphne Feigenbaum, the insanely talented. There you are. Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Are you getting ready for Seder?
I am. I don't know where to look. Do I look in the camera or at you? I guess I look in the camera, right?
That looks good to me.
Okay. Yeah, I'm getting ready for Seder. We're doing a Zoom Seder with 18 people. So
Nice.
That's going to be very interesting, I think. I'm not the Daphne of my family in real life, so I will not be taking charge, but I'm very interested to see what happens.
Cool. And Sarah, like, like, would you say bad Jews changed your life? Is that like too insane a statement to say?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that when people think of shows that changed their lives as actors, they're often thinking about like fame and fortune. And I do get stopped at the grocery store sometimes and called a bitch. So in that regard, yes. But it also changed my own relationship with Judaism. And that was largely in part because I had you and I had Jake and Jamie to kind of figure a lot of stuff out with the first time through. So yeah, it was a very big show for me, and it was my first time with that big a part that wasn't like a theater school production.
Wow. And that since, I don't know if many people understand how much you do besides acting, because you write and you direct and you sing. So what have been your since the close of Bad Jews? I know it was hard to top it, but what have been some of your favorite moments in the business since then?
That's a very good question. I've worked on a lot of shows that I had an amazing time with. I got to get back to dancing with a Geordie show where I played like an 11-year-old dance student. I'm writing a musical, which is a really different experience being on the other side. And then probably my show, Don't Read the Comments, that was at, oh, wow, you guys have a graphic. It's like you were waiting for me to mention it, which was at the Fringe and then the Segal Centre and then the Centaur's Wildside Festival. And we've done it at tons of schools as well. So that show has been a pretty amazing experience. And I'm trying to figure out if I want to do like a Facebook Live version of it with the cast where it's kind of like a CNN talking heads thing. So that's what I'm trying to figure out if I want to develop in this unprecedented time.
Okay, so whoever's watching, let Sarah know if you want her to do a Facebook Live of her show. Maybe we can help. We can vote on it.
Yeah, I've been really into Instagram polls lately. So I even did an Instagram poll about what I should drink tonight. So I have lots of options that once everyone else has joined, I'm very excited to present. Also, everyone should note that I got the high. I'm wearing a high right now, if you can see it.
Oh, oh my gosh. Okay, the rest of the cast is apparently really, really excited for you to do the show. And so is Kasha. Hi, Kasha. Thanks for watching. So, okay, before we bring out Jamie, before we bring him out.
Because once he's out, I'll never get a chance to speak again. So we need to take this time.
So we need to take this time, and you need to tell us a Jamie Liam story that you hold very dear. That's okay to share.
I probably have so many Jamie Liam stories, but actually the main one is actually with everyone. Can I tell that one?
Yeah, of course.
It's good.
There are no rules.
Okay, that's true. I also just want to note that while I am wearing no makeup, I put several products into my hair because I know everyone's just here for their hair, and I haven't gotten a haircut since we did Bad Jews in Toronto. So that's a year and a half of Jew hair right there.
At some point, can you just like take a piece out and throw it on?
And just do that. So my story is that one time we had a double show day, and Erica, who's now Jamie's wife, at the time was his girlfriend, was in town, and the four of us and Erica were playing Jewish bingo, which you bought us the first time we did the show. And it's a kid's game for people who don't know it, and it's like, who has Passover, whatever, you put like a thing down on it or something. And I guess we didn't realize, but like Jamie, Jake, and I were playing, and we were all playing. Well, all five of us were playing, and then Jamie, Jake, and I started talking louder and louder and yelling at each other, but not in a mean way. Like, we didn't realize we were all yelling. And then Ellen and Erica, the two non-Jews, were like, "Hey, you guys know you're yelling right now, right? Like, that you're aware?" And we were like, "Oh, No, sorry. Like, it was just a very life imitating art moment where just you had like three very loud, rambunctious Jews. It's like Jamie always talks about how we became a family through that show, and that was such a clear example to me of like, oh yeah, this is when we've just become that entity.
I feel like we went through a lot of that with this show.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, other shows like companies become families, but this was like other level.
I'm overheating. I have to put my hair up.
Oh my God.
I couldn't even last the whatever this has been 5 minutes. So
No, I know. I got dressed up for today, so I'm gonna last as long as possible with this. Okay. So let's bring Jamie out, playing Liam. Da 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 da.
oh my God.
Oh.
Let's do this, Sarah. Let's do this, Sarah.
You look so rabbinic. What's happening?
My friends. Oh, wait, I didn't. Sorry, you already. Hang on. I was gonna say, if I thought that we should start by davening Mincha Maariv, okay? I'm gonna lead it. I'm just kidding. I'm not leading services, Lisa. Come on. Okay.
Oh,
how you doing?
So
Good to see you. Good to see you guys.
You too, Sarah. You're in Montreal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jamie, you are in LA.
Yes.
Look at us reuniting. So
It's good to see. I haven't seen Sarah in a while, and you did a good job just now. Sarah's listening in on that whole thing.
Thank you.
I won't take over the whole
approval.
show. I will not take over the whole show.
Okay, but Jamie, we need you know, now that so I don't know if everyone knows. I guess I assume everyone knows that Yid Life crisis is a really big thing. But yeah,
Hey,
see, we got ready for that. But what
high tech.
Now, as I get to know Yid Life crisis like more and more, it's really uncanny the similarities between bad and bad Jews. I mean, do you?
Well,
Yes.
it's uncanny. I think it's uncanny, but I also think it's logical to an extent, because I think even though I'm a little bit older than Joshua Harmon, that we're coming from a similar place of trying to understand how to be Jewish in the modern world, how to pay tribute to our grandparents, to the rituals of our ancestors, and yet you might be a total atheist and disagree with everything, you know, that's going on. So, but just to remind you of the uncanniness of why I was doing Bad Jews, it was because of Yid Life, right? Because here's a story. I don't know if we've already told this, or if we haven't, it's been a few years. But right before we shot the first episodes of Yid Life, which is now 6 years ago this summer, crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, I went to the Segal Centre. I hadn't seen you in a while. We were old friends. We'll come back to that later. But
I do not have a photo of that, by the way.
Okay, I don't have a photo. But we go way back. But what the? Come on! Come on, man! Mel.
Oh gosh. Okay, move on. Quickly. Tell the story.
Good job. The story is that I went to the Segal Centre a few days, maybe 2 days before shooting the first episodes of Yid Life Crisis, which, for those of you who don't know, is a Yiddish web series that I make with my partner Ellie Battalion. And we were about to shoot the first 4 episodes, the first season, and we needed Hasidic costumes. And it was like a last-minute thing. We hadn't figured it out. We went to the Segal Centre. I said, I have to go pop in and say hi to Lisa while we're here, especially if I'm going to go ask for a discount on Hasidic costume rentals. And by discount, I mean, please give me for free, Lisa. Nice to see you. It's been a while. And then she was like, sure, but why? What do you need them for? And I said, well, I'll tell you. Come with me. We went to Snowden Deli. We went for a bowl of matzo ball soup. And I read you the first episode of Yid Life in English over soup before we shot it. And your reaction, well, I was very insecure as a writer. I'm doing this thing. It's in Yiddish. I've never done it before. And your reaction was, you're going to play Liam. Bad Jews. And that was it. That's how it started. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. And I remember how Jewish is this, that I literally like chased you down to read the script to the point where I called your mother. And I got your mother to say, read the effing script.
Fine. And
you called me and you were like, okay, I get it. I love it.
My mother, who's probably watching, if you are, hi, Mom, in which case I'm glad you gave her the shout out. Yes, you sent me the script right away. My head wasn't in it yet. I hadn't done a play in, at that point, about 7 years when I understudied the play Jutopia in a nice one. Thank you, Jamie's mom. I understudied the lead in the play Jutopia in LA about, I don't know, 5-6 years before that. And before that, I hadn't done a play since 1999. So I wasn't really thinking about it. You sent me the script. I ignored it for about 5 months. My mother finally got to me and said, you have to read it. Lisa's getting, she's going to kill you if you. And I read it and I closed the last page and I called you and I said, thank you so much. And I stand by that. I still thank you so much for that.
Amazing.
I really do.
Great. So let's keep bringing on our family here. Next up, your fiance, the incredibly talented Ellen Tenney.
Melody.
Hi, cuties.
Hi.
Hey.
Thank you.
Oh, I blow dried my hair for this. So, yeah, big moment.
Yeah, you look great.
Me too.
Looks so good. What's been going on with you since Bad Jews?
Last year was a very busy year for me. It was like the first year that I had kind of 50% performing, 50% writing projects going on. And so I wrote my first musical, which was about a little known sport of freestyle frisbee. And then I also made my professional debut as a playwright with a production of my play called Pleasureville in Halifax. That was probably like the big highlight. There it is.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you. So that one, that was really fun and dream come true.
How different was that than being on stage?
It was very different. I did find a couple moments where I was like wanting to get up there and act it as well, because that's what I'm used to. But it was really great to be collaborating in the rehearsal hall. I was there for the whole rehearsal process and had a really great relationship with my director, Annie. And the whole team was super open to my feedback the whole time and my ideas. So I felt very much a part of it, which was great.
Amazing. You were, like, when I think of you, Ellen, I just think of this unbelievable professional, this joy to have in the room, kind of the calm within the storm. Would you guys agree?
Yes.
I feel like I'm already
Yes.
falling back into that role just in this video call.
Yes, Ellen. I was going to ask if you could lead us in a vocal warm-up. Just kidding.
Yeah,
we don't have to do that.
We should have done our vocal warm-up before this. Oh, yes.
Ellen, what would you say is like a thing, or maybe your favorite thing that you would have learned about Judaism as part of this process?
I learned so many things. I mean, my favorite part, honestly, was when I would not know something and then everybody would scream with delight at what a shiksa I was, and how ignorant I was, and they just couldn't believe there was things that I didn't know. But yeah, I mean, I loved the whole thing because I feel like I learned so much from you all, but I also learned so much from the audience because so many of them will wait after and get really in depth talking about it all. So I feel like the education continued throughout the whole run, and
I think we all learned a lot from some of those audience members.
Yes, we did.
Like what's like anything stand out?
Like, there was the night that Jake and I had to take a pause in the show because a woman decided to climb over a railing and change seats and fell. So I just had to stand and eat cookies while Jake sat on the couch with his video game until the show could get picked up. That was a big learning moment, I think, about the liveness of theater. There are just so many exciting moments that I think that Jews and non-Jews alike really learned.
There was
Jamie?
a moment when someone was standing on the stage too. Do you remember that?
She leaned on the living room wall for 20 minutes. We had to pretend we weren't looking at her when we looked out the window at the television.
Gradually became aware of this person who was on the set who was not one of us.
Yeah. I mean,
it was the ghost of Poppy.
Grandma. No, it was Grandma's ghost.
That's right.
Poppy, right.
It was a woman.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
I thought it was pretty amazing, the sides people would take. Either they were rooting for Melody or not. And sometimes it was hard for audiences to remember that you're not your characters.
Yes, I did have a lot of questions after about why I behaved the way I did. As if I had made the life choices that Melody, the character, made in the play. And I often had to just say, that's how Joshua Harmon wrote it. That's why I did it. But I think I lost most people at the end. I don't think many people were on. I think Melody, had a lot of people on her side for most of the play and then kind of lost it at the end.
Right. So true. But I think that's what was so engaging about this piece.
Absolutely.
Is that it feels so invested in these characters and in the storytelling.
I still have people bring up my rendition of Summertime, though, which feels like a totally apart from the rest of the show because it just is a standalone Melody moment where she makes it about her. But yeah, I had someone mention it to me the other day.
Yeah. Can you just clear your throat for us?
That was it.
That was it.
Nailed it.
So let's bring out the baby.
Oh, here we go.
I'm not even the youngest one here.
Jonah.
Oh,
but
yes.
it's Jake Goldsby.
Hi, friends.
How are you?
What's up, JK?
Hi, Jamie.
What's up, bro? Bro.
Jake, it's your turn to plug yourself.
Hooray. I love plugging myself.
What's happening in your life?
What is happening in my life? I don't know. Things are, I guess, weird now, as they are for everyone, I'm sure. Haven't worked sort of acting-wise as much as maybe I would have liked in the last little bit, but keeping busy. I host two podcasts, co-host two podcasts right now.
Yeah, that's nice.
Sports Health, which is a sports show, and Columbia House Party, which is a music show. We've been going for about a year, I guess, for each. It's been moderately successful, I suppose. I'm with Sarah's problem, though. I don't know where to look right now, and it's freaking me out. Do I look at you guys? Do I look at the camera?
Good.
I'm just looking at you guys now. I gave up on the camera.
We're all sick of looking at ourselves. So just don't look
I don't
at yourself and look at anyone else in it.
Yeah.
I don't care for it. I'm just gonna look right at Jamie.
That's right.
I'm looking at you, buddy. Oh, I'm looking at you. And I gotta say, we look like brothers.
Do we?
I think so.
Okay.
I think we could pull off. I mean, now and then we both have our beards back. Remember that was a thing.
It's very nice to have the beard.
You trimmed.
I did trim. I trimmed because I got paranoid about the virus because I'm nuts.
Like the Hasidic guys, you mean that they can't get the?
Oh no! It's dumber. It's way dumber. Oh my god.
Okay. No, because there's a thing right now.
Can you use? Is it kosher to use your kippah as a face mask?
I've seen a bunch of people using kippahs as face masks.
Actually?
And I think, yes, I mean, listen, better that than they're going to shul and getting into minions. You know what I mean? Like, wear the kippah on your face, no problem.
Never thought of that. So, Jake, what do you miss the most about this show or this group? What's Like going through your mind right now.
I mean, I think Ellen sort of touched on it, I think, when she said that we've been here now for 25 minutes and immediately it's back into sort of the old pattern.
Yeah.
The old roles. But no, genuinely, I miss it. I think about it a lot, actually. I'll be walking just down the street and I'll be like, oh, can I still do the whole play in my mind? Because I feel like it's so burned into all of us from the many, many runs and time and that. But I don't know. I miss all of you. But just the sort of, I mean this in an extremely positive way. There's something unpredictable about, I don't know if every production of the show, but our production of the show. And I mean that in a good way. And I sort of miss that, that moment when we're, Jamie and Ellen, we're all backstage and Jamie and Ellen would go and get ready to come on stage. And Sarah and I are waiting for whatever, trying to make each other laugh to start the show. And just that, okay, let's see what happens today.
It was a huge adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
I think, right?
Oh, yeah.
It was a huge adrenaline rush, especially a show like this where, I haven't done many other shows, but a show like this where you are pretty much, once the train leaves the station, that's it. See you on the other side. And it's very exciting to be in that situation.
Yeah.
No breaks, really.
It's one of those things that feels kind of crazy we did it at all in retrospect because it is so nonstop. And once we're out there, we're out there.
Especially the first 2 times we did the show where there was literally no exit from the stage other than the front door, the bathroom. Yeah. When we did it in Toronto, there was a way for someone to contact stage management if something went wrong. But at the Segal, that set was completely closed off. So it was just
throwback.
That's a photo.
The photo from Toronto.
I miss how sweaty Jamie would get before we'd even step on stage.
in the dressing room.
I'm hot now just thinking about it. Honestly, I started thinking about this play and I started sweating. My body, it's like Pavlovian. I see you guys and I start to
But you were such a trooper wearing that sweater.
The full sheet. It was a full body sheet. Listen, I felt worse for the Ellen. I sweat all over Ellen. And she's so, look at
When Mello got you to wear a hat for Christmas.
That's right.
Well, at least
That's right.
sometimes we're in
November.
November.
I have a fun game to play. We're going to throw up some photos from the show.
Oh, no.
And let's see if you can call out a line or two from this particular scene.
Oh my god.
Okay.
It's I know where it is. It's do you want me to? I don't know if I can start. Maybe you start.
Are we going to?
It's just it's oh my god, what is it? It's something and Liam doesn't even want it, so if you could just could you block? It's that somewhere around
the pauses. Yeah.
It's about to high, and then I would touch you, and sometimes I'd accidentally touch your tattoo, and that was a big spoiler. Then I'd have to. I don't remember the lines, but I remember the feeling. I think that's more important.
That's proving my question of do I remember the play, and the answer is apparently not.
You said, Jake, you just kept saying, no, it's okay. You can have it. I don't want it.
Yeah,
that was every line I had.
Have it.
No, it's fine.
Okay, here we go. Next one.
Just go to bed. Just go to bed. Something like that.
Yes. I think it sounds right to me.
Yes. That's the go to bed when we all split up and then
go to bed.
It's been a long day.
It's been a long day. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, this is do you know how many Jews won the Nobel Prize versus how many exist in the world? I'm really paraphrasing. I hope Josh Harmon is not watching this. You wrote it better, Josh.
Sarah, that's not the line. The line is
cheating.
I don't remember. I couldn't do the play the day after the play.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, that's a nice show.
This is early, I think.
Oh, this is the Passover story. This is right before the cookie. This is Miyushi.
Yes, this is. What?
And then it's right before. Yeah, it's right before I go. And even Miyushi was like, I don't know to eat that on Passover or whatever that line was.
It's the title of the show. This is the I'm a
Oh
bad.
yeah, it's right before. Yeah, because then you would cross. You were there, then you'd cross, and you'd be like, and he was like.
And then the whole
I'm a
crowd
bad
would go, that's the name of the show.
Yeah, and everyone took a shot in the audience because that's what you do when you see a play and they say the title. You have to take a shot. Actually, we should take a drink. Yeah, good, Jake, because I just said it.
Okay.
From now on, every time someone says bad Jew, you have to drink.
I'm going to need to get another beer for doing that.
So
Jake, I got the White Claw like you wanted.
Oh, nice.
And for Jamie, it's black cherry White Claw.
Oh, he
Very
does
good.
like that.
Well done.
Thank you.
That one's good.
Yeah.
That looks
We drank all of ours.
So guys, do you see we have a surprise guest alert?
What?
Surprise!
Yes, I
guest!
love surprises.
Surprise guest. Can you go back to that other slide, Mel, for a sec? The one with the Miyushi slide. Let's take a moment and drink to the incredible set and costumes of Bad News.
Here.
And
Yes.
and how about we bring out our designer to say hi?
Oh.
Yes.
Hey!
Surprise!
Look at those
Hello.
guns.
Look at your
What's up,
kitchen.
DJ?
It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
How are you?
Look at those avocados. His avocados are fresh.
It's a painting.
Go on, bro. Oh,
I'm great.
Well done.
I mean, I'm as good as one can be right now, but staying positive and cooking, and I even made a fancy cocktail for tonight.
Ooh.
Look at that.
Mm.
So bad juice. Now everyone needs to drink.
Gotcha.
Bad juice.
Brian, I have to say, doing this show with you was not even like, I don't even, maybe you could explain it better, but whereas often you have to do research, this was like in our DNA. I like, it was the most fun. Like the fact that from the sheets, the details, and I know we did this awesome live Facebook tour of the set, which we can put up again for everybody to watch after. But was it like that for you? Am I like, because you design like 20 shows a year? I want to hear what you're up to. But was it one of the better ones? Come on.
Oh, of course it was. I mean, no, I think you nailed it on the head there. Like we talk about, like the sheets should feel like those sheets that you had at camp, you know, when you were 14 years old. And right away, we both knew what these sheets should look like just based on that. Or like that armoire should feel like the armoire you saw in Bubby's apartment when, you know, she moved out, kind of thing. And it's like, oh, we know exactly what that is. But yeah, I feel like so much of it was just channeling everything that I grew up on. And then, of course, working with you and with such a great group of people, it just made the experience so enjoyable.
Amazing.
Akiva,
Aw.
we love you.
So, okay, I see former Montrealer who lives in Toronto, Montrealer, and Jamie, you lived in Toronto.
I've never lived there.
No, you've never lived in Toronto. It's like, or you, I guess maybe you worked in Toronto for many years.
No, neither. The only work I've ever I've worked there, but I've never lived there.
You never come see us.
So
I wish I like it. I you know.
Okay, but while we're
I've
here,
been-
because we kind of have to go there. Let's do the Montreal-Toronto thing. Toronto versus Montreal. You can either go, you know, how was the experience? Like working, like don't compare theaters because the Harold Green Jewish Theater is a great theater. And we know all the wonderful things you could say about the Segal Centre. But in terms of like, you know, Ellen and Jake, for you were visiting Montreal, although Jake, you went to school here. And well, now, Brian, you live in Toronto. So what for you are some takeaways or some differences that we can kind of laugh about?
Okay, I'll start.
Okay, you start. Thank you, Jamie. Otherwise,
Basically, here's the difference between Montrealers and Torontonians. I don't know if it's Montreal Jews and Toronto Jews, but the Montreal productions of the show were basically fully interactive experiences between the four of us on stage and the entire audience. They were commenting on the action in full volume in real time every night throughout the show. Torontonians are more reserved. Now, this cuts both ways because I would honestly say that in Montreal, we got standing ovations probably, I don't know, 90% of the nights or something, and definitely fewer in Toronto. They were just less vocal in general. They were more reserved. You know, Toronto the good. Now, I've never lived in Toronto, but I've certainly spent enough time in Toronto over the years to know that the city has loosened up, even over the 20 years that I've been visiting as an adult. But the audiences were markedly different, right? Like they just, you didn't have the live running Yiddish commentary.
Do you think it was that the Toronto audiences weren't commenting, or that, you know, when you were in Montreal, especially when you were in the hallway scenes, you were literally on top of the audience, whereas in Toronto you had a little bit of space.
But it's that's the thing, Brian. You would think that when Jake and I are doing the hallway scene and literally our feet are touching the walkers of the people in the front row, or the cane, okay? And that's how close they are. I could just punch this guy in the face. Not that I would ever, but we're standing there, we're inches away. You'd think they wouldn't talk to us while we're doing the scene. But they do. They talk to us, they talk to each other, they're commenting. In Toronto, there was the distance because it was the big stage and the proscenium stage and everything. Despite that distance, I felt that they were just a different vibe. They were more reserved in their reactions. I don't know, that was my feeling in hindsight.
Tell you that when we did the first time we did the show, even though Ellen wasn't there. But the first time we did the show, and it was Jake and Jamie's play for the first time in a long time, and it was a Sunday mat preview, and we walked off, keeping in mind it was a very vocal crowd, and Jake said, "I feel like we just did a live taping of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air." And that line has stuck with me forever. And then Jake and Jamie both said, is it going to be like that every night? And I was like, no. Sunday mat previews are very different. And then I was wrong. I was very wrong. It was like that every night.
I think that, as much as Toronto sort of gets, I think because it's like the big bustling city, it gets that rap as being rude. And I'm not saying this is rude, but Toronto audiences, I think, are very afraid. They have that very Canadian, we don't want to offend. So we're going to... Who's to say?
Similar, very similar.
So many similarities. But I think the Toronto audiences don't want to speak up like that. They're not comfortable with that because it might offend somebody. Whereas Montrealers are just yes, I'm in this too. Which I think they're both very different experiences. But I will definitely never be, to Sarah's point about that being me and Jamie's first theater experience in a very long time, and having that be that first experience, nothing will ever throw me off in my life ever again.
Look how much we're talking about the audience, and because how much did you need an audience, after doing it, and when we went back to rehearsals, yes, they were in your face, and yes, they may have talked out loud, but what would we do without them? They're everything.
Yeah, we missed them. That was brutal. Yeah. We had to go back to rehearsal. We didn't have any before we did the remount. We didn't have any reaction for a week. We were like,
and do you remember in rehearsal we were very quiet, and we were making
I was so worried of bad Jews. I was just thinking about that.
We were making it very intense and very quiet, and then we go on stage, we're oh, we can't do at all.
I know. I found all these really beautiful, fine-tuned emotional moments where I was finally crying where I always wanted to cry, and then we got to the Harold Green with mics and everything, and we were oh, this is not going to work.
You guys were troopers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Thank
an
you.
electric play, you know, so it was very good to, even though it was hard in a way to keep your concentration. The Montreal audiences, you know, it made it electric. I mean, first of all, you know, like you said, Brian, they were right there. That's how close they were. It was a brilliant set design. The original design also, when you could walk through the hallway, you know, down the hallway of the New York Upper West Side building, and then into the set, and everything was just, you know, it was electric. It's like they were right in the room with us in Toronto. You had to work harder to like get it to that. Remember how high those ceilings were too?
Yeah.
Like, it was a totally different experience.
Yeah. Sarah, how long did it take for you to stop speaking like Daphne?
I'm sure I'm speaking like her right now. I'm sure it just came back. I mean, I think that the ironic thing is that I spent my entire kind of adolescent life trying not to speak like Daphne, because I had gone to a Jewish elementary school and came out just like very embarrassed about this, as we say, like Jappy way of speaking, and spent a lot of my time in high school making sure that I didn't sound like that. And then to have someone say like, hey, we're going to pay you to become the worst version of yourself. You know, I even actually, it's funny, I was taking voice lessons a couple years ago with Jonathan Patterson, whom a lot of people who are watching this, I'm sure know. And he was telling me, he was like, I think that your voice is, because I have like a lot of voice issues. He was like, I think that you're talking in a register that is way too low for yourself. And I think that you need to go back to that kind of Daphne-esque, up here, like this is actually where your voice lives. And I was like, no, I will lose all my friends. I can't do that. I'd rather have like vocal nodes or whatever than speak like Daphne for the rest of my life.
You're reminding me of something Josh said about Daphne that I think changed a lot about how important it was to love her, to take care of her, to look out for this character that, you know, that so many people kind of wanted to hate or they were annoyed by her, but your performance was so special because she was so cared for, and that really came from Josh and his writing. So that was
someone actually stopped me last month when I was still, you know, leaving the house, and said, "Oh, I was there the night that you started crying during the talk back," and I was like, "Oh, yep." I remember that night, but it was, and she was like, that man was very rude. He was very mean to you. And it was because, I don't know if you, well, Lisa, you weren't there actually, but I don't know if you guys remember this. It was because some guy was talking, I know Jake remembers because he attacked you too. He was like, yeah, I think that Jonah is really self-harming with the tattoo. I think he should be on like suicide watch. And you never wanted to high. You were just a bitch. And I just like burst out crying, and everyone in the audience was like, oh, we don't know what to, and then I like had to explain that I was crying not because he had offended me, but because I felt very protective of the character. And it was this like whole, anyway, so it was very funny to have, what is that, like 3-4 years later, some woman at some other event come up to me and be like, I was there the night.
That's like the beauty of this show, though, right? Like, as extreme as an example as it might be, I know when we did it the first time in Montreal, like I felt every possible feeling, and every audience member will have their own opinion of like who should get the high at the end of the day, or our behaviors are correct or incorrect, and what was justified and what was not. I feel like it's just such a talking piece, which is what's so special about the show. It's like, you're going to go and you're going to have an amazing 90 minutes in the audience and love every second of this experience, but then you're going to go talk about it for the rest of the night and for days to come. And like, you know, being so close to the show and working on it and investing everything I have into it, still talking for days and weeks after it and having new and different opinions is what made the writing so strong, what made, you know, the direction and your performances so powerful as well.
Yeah.
And the set, of course.
It's so rare to like open a show and to just want to keep talking about it, and keep missing people's experiences. Thank you, Brian, for that comment. And it's so great to have you. We got to say goodbye. I wish you a wonderful Seder. A happy.
You too.
I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
Have a great time, everyone.
Bye, Brian.
See you soon.
So, guys, I want to tell you what is so cool about today is, you know whose birthday it is today?
Poppies.
No. Close. Guess.
Josh Harmon?
It's Josh Harmon's birthday.
Yes.
Come on!
Oh.
Hello.
Son of a...
Whoa!
It is.
Well done.
It is.
I'm shook. I'm shook.
Oh wait, do you remember earlier when I said I hope Josh Harmon's not listening to this?
I was listening.
Yeah. Nice job.
Wow.
How is it?
Well done, Lisa.
Wow.
Josh, thank you so much for being here with us on your birthday.
So happy to be.
Can I just, this outdoes Hamilton. This outdoes Don Krasinski, Hamilton. I'm the 9-year-old girl. And my hair's going back up.
We're all just sweating.
Yeah.
How is everybody? Where are you guys all?
I have payas.
We're scattered.
I'm
We're
in
scattered.
Toronto.
That's very religious of you.
I'm in Toronto, so is Jake.
I'm in Toronto as well.
I'm in Montreal.
Better. Well said. Well said.
So Josh,
No, I'm in LA, and Josh, you're in New York, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah.
What's that like?
Dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
Sorry to hear
I
that.
hope, Josh, we can shed a little bit of light on the darkness by showering you with the love of this show and our experience with it. I can't express to you what a gift it was for all of us and for so many. And I feel like I want to shut up because I feel like these guys like have so many questions or so many things to say to you, and I don't want to take up too much of your time either. But it's so great that you could be here with us today. So thank you.
It's the highlight of my day. Really, I'm so happy to be here.
That is sad.
Well, we don't have a lot to do.
No.
Today, so you know.
No, I'm saying for him. I mean, he's
I know,
Josh.
I'm
No,
saying.
listen. Yeah, no, he agree. Yeah, no, for sure, Jake agrees with me. Well, Josh, I could definitely tell you on behalf of the cast that we loved the play, loved doing the show.
So great.
3 out of 4 of us got to do it 3 times, and then Ellen did it twice. And I could tell you, we all wanted to keep going. We didn't want it to end because it was truly a powerful experience to do.
You did it in Montreal and then Toronto and then back to Montreal?
Montreal twice, then Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I joined,
And-
I felt like what struck me was how much this show meant to everybody. Like it was immediately so clear how much it meant to everyone involved and how much these characters meant to all the actors. And so that was a real joy for me to become a part of for the remounts.
That's so nice.
I'm so sorry you never got to hear her summertime.
I'm here.
He was
I'm here.
genius.
I did go to opera school, so I felt
Wow.
perfectly positioned to channel my sad white girl opera singing. Yes.
Amazing.
And I went to Israel and met a man named Gilad.
And how did that go?
It's good. We took a photo together. He's a Tahel officer. It was a very big moment for me.
Huge.
It was. Lisa was like asking earlier how much like this play changed my life, which was like a hashtag no pressure kind of question. But it was my first time going to Israel, and I don't know that I would have gone to Israel without having done the show.
You went after you did the play.
Yeah, I went between 1 and 2. Is that
I think so.
sound right?
Yeah.
I had gone when I met you, Ellen, right? When we did the show together? Yeah, so I went between rounds 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But I think that like living the worst version of what I could possibly become after coming back from Israel in a lot of ways allowed me to feel like I could go to Israel and be my own person.
Sure.
I mean, it felt like sort of, especially the first time, and then sort of rediscovering it when Ellen came on board. I forget what Jamie called it. It's a term that I knew once and now forget. But like day one of rehearsals, we just kind of sat around the table and talked about, or day 1 through like 5, I think actually, we just kind of talked about the play. And I feel like, especially the first time, that sort of never stopped the whole run. Like after shows, before shows, it was always sort of like a constant dialogue between all, and even like third time in Toronto, we were still sort of finding new things about it and about ourselves and our relationship to it and all that, that those discussions kind of never stopped, which I find really interesting. Like we never, I think because it does mean so much to us and we're all connected to it in different ways, it never became like, oh, we're just doing the show tonight. No, we're going to do a show and then we leave stage and then we go home. It was always
I think
new stuff.
also, like, you wrote the play was written in 2012, right? Yeah. But like we did the show in 16, 17, and 18 or something like that. And like, not to get too dark, but like the last time that we did the show in Toronto was like the Pittsburgh shooting was like on our 4th performance.
Yeah.
And so we had an entire run of the show, which was really different. I mean, it was still like full of love and light, like life and laughter and all the L's apparently, but it does become like a very different show than when you're feeling safer. You know what I mean?
And wasn't the second time also like right after Charlottesville?
It was right after Charlottesville, yeah. So,
Josh,
we were like,
do you remember Josh gave us permission? You probably don't remember this, but you gave us
I remember.
we remember. Of course we remember. Yeah. It was a huge discussion about what can you say. I mean, and the interesting thing was, even when you were asking earlier about the difference of like Toronto and Montreal crowds, I was thinking like it's almost an unfair question, because like in a talkback one night, this woman was like, you know, like the name of the play. And yes, we've talked about the name of the play with audiences, but she was like, given like what certain events have been, I think we shouldn't be helping people have this impression of like a bad Jew because of this. And I was like, but it's for us, it's not for them. And so we had to have a whole conversation about the fact that the title is actually insular. It's not about people from the outside calling us bad Jews. It's an insular thing, but she wouldn't have, just like these like small micro things where she wouldn't have felt that way if the world's events in that moment hadn't been affecting her in a certain way. So it's kind of amazing that we've had the opportunity to do it 3 times in 3 very different political climates.
Yeah.
I mean, would you say that it's sort of almost a time capsule, even though it's so recently that, you know?
It feels that way. I mean, there's been such a giant shift in the culture globally, certainly in America, in Europe. I couldn't speak to Canada, but I think, when we did the play in New York in 2012 and 2013, and Daphne said, now when it's safest to be Jewish, everybody just sat there. It felt true. And then when it happened in London in 2015, right after the shooting at the kosher supermarket and Charlie Hebdo, that line got a laugh. And we were like, whoa, something huge has shifted here. And that's when we realized, there had to be an alternate line there. So yeah, I think it is a time capsule. I hope we go back to it, but I don't know when.
I mean, even when the first run, at least again, like sort of, I guess it was maybe our sort of Canadian bubble, so to speak. But the first one we did, it was May of 2016. So kind of before everything sort of went where it did. But and that, like, to your point, like the when it's safest line, I don't think it ever got, like, the reaction was emotion from Sarah in the scene, but I don't think it ever really got like, and even the talkbacks then seemed sort of, they were emotional and intense because it's an emotional intense show, but it was all sort of like, okay, this is the show that we get. And then the next, not even a year later, whatever it was, 10 months later? No.
Yeah.
However long it was completely different.
You know what? Also, I just wanted to say that you should know that we didn't none of us, I think, watched any clips online from any previous productions before we did the show. I mean, I think we talked about it a bit. I was like really crazy about not looking at anything, and I don't know if you'd heard, whatever. I'd only done one play in the preceding 20 years, so I was like really just wanting to go in cold and just take it for what it was. By the time we did the third run, we were open to, going down the rabbit hole of whatever's on YouTube. Now, I know that it's, we all were dying for you to come see the show because, and I don't know if this applies across there was a little hint of Vorspice of Jewish guilt for you, Josh. Sorry.
Good.
You knew you were getting it. You came on here. Come on. But and I don't know what other casts would say about this. I've actually now seen the show in LA once, and I know it's played all over the world. But I gotta say, for the four of us, it was very, very personal. Okay, I don't want to even get into how personal it was, to be honest, on this particular public forum. But we took our parts very, very personally, and I don't know if you were here for the beginning of the call, and Lisa talking about the uncanniness of the project that I started working on at the time that she mentioned this, Yid Life Crisis. And for all of us, there's a Yid Life Crisis. There's a version of us that's very tied into the show. By the time we got to the third run of the show, I don't know what those other casts were thinking, okay? Because they had no right. As far as we were concerned, it was sacrilege for anybody else to perform those parts. Okay?
Yeah. And
Am
also,
I wrong?
No,
I'm not getting involved.
Yeah.
my line.
We're playwrights.
See?
I told you I'm a Jonah in real life. I'm not a boss, I'm a Jonah.
But I think the point of it is that these guys were very, very real and authentic, and they were a family, and that what happened on stage for them, that feeling of family and the authenticity, made for a really well represented version of your play, and
so nice.
It was very. It's hard to find and hard to top. And when you have those experiences as an actor or as a director, they're magical. They're magical. So
when we did it in New York, the woman who played Daphne said something like, "You can only fight with people this much if you love them this much off stage. Fight with them this much on stage if you love them so much off stage." And there is something about they are two sides of the same coin. So my experience has been that people get really close making, the play, and it's really beautiful to get to see.
Yeah, we got a lot of questions at Talkback. They'd say like, "Oh, do you guys really hate each other as much or whatever?" And we were like, "No, you can't do this if you actually hate each other."
And how did you memorize all those lines?
Oh, yeah.
But so like.
No. The hardest line in the play for me, but so like.
Oh, yeah.
But so like.
I don't know how much time we have left, but I did want to I found this at the back of the cupboard. It's Passover Slivovitz. And I thought that we should do a little toast for Poppy.
Poppy.
And
I don't know what this tastes like.
Birthday.
And Josh's birthday.
Yeah.
He's so lucky to not drink this. I'm sure it's disgusting. What is everyone drinking?
L'chaim, Josh.
A Negroni.
Oh, you fancy.
Is that Melody of me? I don't know. I don't know if Melody would remember the recipe to that.
I thought it was appropriate to drink a Toronto. I'm drinking a Blood Brothers beer.
Oh, nice.
Whoa.
I believe is a Toronto Montreal sort of collaboration brewery. So I thought it was appropriate for tonight.
That's lovely. I also live around the corner from them. So.
Oh, really? Oh, no, I'm wrong. They're not Montreal. That's another beer I was going to drink, but I didn't. Whatever.
Did you guys already do a fine for Josh's birthday?
No, we're doing it now.
Okay.
Here's Josh.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, Josh. Hi.
Happy birthday, and thank you for bringing us all together. You're the reason why we're here today, and so thank you. And I hope.
I'm so sad I didn't get to see it. I really wanted to. I heard such great things, and Lisa, you were really great about keeping me posted about different cool things that were happening, but she just raved about you guys. So it was really nice to know that the play was in such good hands. So I'm very grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John.
We're honored.
I
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, lovely to meet you.
I do want to take some audience questions because I promised we would do it, even though this is such a high note to leave it on.
Don't make him sit through that, Irish kite. Okay, it's his birthday.
I know.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying goodbye. Okay. And Josh, will look forward to whatever comes next for you. We all follow you, and we hope that things, for all of us, that things go back to normal in New York, and wishing that you're safe and healthy and your family too.
Thank you. Everybody stay safe. It's nice to meet all of you.
Hi.
Bye.
Bye. Great surprise, Lisa.
That was cool.
That was a
Great
good surprise.
But like, I really feel, like there was some sharedness in this, because, when he said to me, I asked him if he would do it, and he's like, in full disclosure, it's my birthday. That day. I don't really know what my plans are. I'm like, well, fine, how, so it's very special. I'm also like going crazy right now too. But we have some questions. So I wanted to we can do them in lightning rounds, no 20-minute answers, okay?
I'm ready. I've got a second one on the go.
Oh, do I have time to get a second one?
What?
No, never mind.
Can someone bring you a second one?
No, Cassie's not.
Your fiancé?
Well, now hang on. All right, fine. Can you at least? First of all, our friend Amanda asked us lots of questions. Let's at least answer one of Amanda's questions.
We're gonna answer.
No.
Oh. Well, because I'm okay. Hang on. What is Jake?
Jamie, you're not
Jake
answering the question.
Jamie, this
ever
is not your
eaten
part.
Degrassi craft dinner? Okay, go ahead.
Jamie.
Okay, there it is. Has Jake? There we go.
No. I think my parents still have the box though. We were offered it because my parents are moving, and they said to myself and my fiance, "Do you want this box of craft dinner?" We said no. I wouldn't eat it because I think it's from 2001. But I don't believe I ever actually ate it at the time, which I think it was just normal craft dinner. So, But it is funny that was a thing for a minute.
I did not know that. I just learned something.
Yeah.
Were the pastas shaped like each of your characters' little heads?
Sadly, no. We were just on the box. There's they just photoshopped us onto the box.
I just took a screenshot of you all. Full disclosure.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we should do that.
I took one when Josh was on. I was like,
here's another question. Jamie, this is for you. Can King Jamie say something naughty in Yiddish?
Was can I sagen? Something dirty in Yiddish? I think that came from Amanda, didn't it? Amanda, don't ask me to talk dirty. My mother's watching this, okay? Geh kacken in Neuf in Levonne.
Hey, Jamie, did you audition for Unorthodox?
Yes, I auditioned to play the part of the woman who leaves the community. As you can see, I brought my my tichel. This is called the tichel, Ellen.
Okay, noted.
So Jamie was waiting till Josh.
I did not
go full Jamie, huh?
Okay.
I didn't. No, I did not read for Unorthodox.
Okay, guys. Here's Jamie.
Nice.
Okay, here's another one, not from Amanda. What is your favorite quarantine guilty pleasure?
Ooh.
Who wants to start? You all have to answer.
It's a broad question.
Yeah.
What is
Guilty.
a broad? What? Okay, I'll make it easier. The days are very long. At some point in the day, you get to do something that you actually look forward to doing. What is that?
Okay.
I don't want to say the
I'll
truth
rephrase.
because it's not going to go well.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Because
Now
my
I wanna
favorite
know.
thing, I'll tell you, but I'm going to get a lot of hate mail from this, which is that my favorite
What?
thing every day has become working out.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes, that's awesome.
Because I know, and now I'm like, but it's
No,
not something that I used to really carve out time for. Because I work on so many different projects, especially when I'm working from home, it would be hard for me to schlep to the gym. I did a Jewish word for you, Jamie, or
Thank you.
just even go out for a run. And so the fact that now I get to carve out time for working out, which is something that I actually enjoy. But it's weird because everyone wants me to say oh, I eat a block of fudge every night before bed, or something disgusting.
No.
Okay, fine. Let me ask the rest of the cast a question in a different way. How many people here have stopped thinking that it's necessary to be sober before noon?
I haven't gotten to that point yet. I have
I'm
to
not sure,
say.
I don't know about before noon, but I definitely every day I'm like, oh, I don't think I'll have any drinks today, and then cut to now.
It's breakfast.
It's because it's in the house. Because I don't know about you guys, but in Toronto, the local breweries have been really good about delivery, and so I'm not a guy who usually has beer in the house in advance, and now it's here. So what am I going to do? Not drink it? And also it's just everything's so weird. And I think Sarah, your point about working out, it's I think my answer is anything I can do to stop myself from thinking I have it and going crazy.
Stay home.
Yeah.
Very Jewish of you, Jay. Very Jewish.
Yeah. I'm leaning. This has really made me lean in.
Ellen, what about you?
I've been doing I've been doing a writing challenge in the morning that I've been really liking. Just setting a timer and putting my phone on airplane mode and sitting and writing in a notebook. And it's a challenge that's being run by an artist named Haley McGee. And it's so nice because I don't know, I find for the past couple of months I found it kind of crippling to sit down and write a new play, has felt kind of pressureful. And so instead I'm just write for 15 minutes, and that's been really nice. A nice way to start the day. But it doesn't feel like a guilty pleasure, It doesn't feel guilty.
But a habit. It's a habit.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
I'm trying to form it into a habit for as long as this goes.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah,
Right.
that's not a guilty pleasure from the girl who wrote Pleasureville.
That's true.
Anyway.
I got it all out last year. Yeah.
Oh, that was fast, Mel. Well done.
That was very good.
Well
yeah.
done. Very good.
Can we shout out a huge thank you to Melanie Thompson?
Yes.
Is
Yes.
the
Good job, Melanie.
behind the Stream Cloud curtain, doing all this fun stuff and keeping us all in check. So thank you, Melanie. And awesome. Okay, so any other? I'm just gonna look. Any other questions? Let me just see.
I think she just wrote that herself about herself on screen. But anyway,
That's really good.
it's fine. It's quarantine.
Respect.
People are weird. It's quarantine.
Okay.
Jamie, is Erica home?
That's none of your business.
Do you know, I got to go to Jamie's house in LA, but he wasn't there. I was hanging out with Erica, and I was taking photos and texting them to him, and he was like, this is my private business. You need to not.
Listen.
But I got a full
Sarah.
view of where the king lives. Oh, he's
Oh,
gone.
he's left.
He's
I
gone.
didn't like that story.
Wow.
Wow.
Now we can talk about him.
Fine.
Finally, guys, this one time, Jamie, wait, is he really not going to come back?
He's mad about.
He probably doesn't know how to get back.
He doesn't know how. He's very old. He's very, very old.
He's definitely trying to go and get Erica so they can bring her.
I was at the SAQ the other day, and it had a sign, and it said, you can't come in if you've traveled outside of Canada in the last 2 weeks, you have symptoms, you're over 70, or you're Jamie Ellman, because he's that old.
Aww.
Well, it's dangerous for him.
He's geriatric.
Mello feels bad.
I'm kidding.
Private chat notification.
Well.
Oh.
Okay, let's see.
Brian's back.
Did you see Andrew just?
We did. Just no.
Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
Hey guys. I thought you
Oh, he came in the other side.
I gave him a haircut.
Oh.
Oh, Jamie's back. Bring him back, Mel.
I guess I'm being booted off again.
Brian, Brian,
Sorry, that wasn't on
Brian, your and Andrew's Instagram game has been so on point
Oh,
since
yeah.
self-isolation started. Wow. I'm so impressed.
Now that I'm unemployed, I need to find other things to do.
Okay, guys. So I think we've officially jeez, right.
Nice, Mel.
I
Good
think
job.
we're officially encored out. So any final words from anyone? Want to tell us what you're working on before we say goodbye? So good to see you.
It's really good to see you all too.
Yeah.
Good to see you guys.
So much
In
fun.
case they were going to say,
I have
in
a
case they
single
were going to
coming
say
out this
anything mean
week.
about me, I had all their cards where they said
Oh,
my
where they
God.
said nice things about me. In case they started trash talking me, I had written proof
Oh,
that we all got along.
that's very sweet. I should have worn my Hanukkah socks.
I was just thinking
yeah,
that.
come on.
We should.
That's true.
Oh,
We
yeah. Thanks, Mel.
oh, Sarah, do you have a new single coming out?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a single coming out this week and a music video.
ooh.
And I wish I could tell you the exact date, but there's a lag between the distributor and Spotify. Anyways, it'll be out sometime this week. It'll be a surprise to me. And yeah, I was supposed to be on tour actually for the entire spring. Obviously that's not happening. So, and I wanted to get in the studio with my band and record the song, and work towards a new album. So all that's on pause, but I wanted to put something out there. So yeah, so that's happening.
Rest in peace tour.
We will hear that. We will listen to that.
Thank you, Jamie.
We need that. We need some entertainment right now, for God's sake. Hurry up.
Okay, sorry.
Voice.
Well, you guys it's just been so much fun. So bringing a little bit of light into this really weird time that we're living in. And thank you for, I know it's like we have lots of time, but making the time and agreeing to come on to do this. For everybody watching, if you want to support the Segal Centre, you can visit our website and support us and all of your neighborhood cultural institutions. If you want to support the work of so many artists that need the help right now, you can also make a donation to the Actors Fund of Canada. We love that place and we want to help artists too. And please check out the work of all these great people that we have on today. You're going to see them around more and more and more. And I'm so proud to have worked with you and to keep following you in your careers. And this was wonderful. So thank you.
Thank
Good
you
to see you
for
guys.
organizing this. Yeah, good to see you.
Miss you.
Cheers.
Love you.
You all.
Happy Passover.
Happy Passover.
Happy Passover, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.